Blog Talk Radio.
Good afternoon, magical friends. Welcome, one and all, to another episode of Magic Universe with Sharona. And I am your radio host and magical mama, Sharona Rapsick. I am an angel whisperer, and oh yes, I do talk to angels, and you can too. And I'm also a tarot master teacher, an angel Reiki master, and the artist and designer of tarot decks, and a teacher of the magical and intuitive arts. And I am coming to you live today from the Big Apple, New York City. And, a couple of nights ago, we had a full moon in the astrological sign of Leo. So I hope you guys remember to roar, hear me roar. And I am so happy that you are joining me here today. Now, this little radio show is all about awakening and embracing your interpersonal power and self-confidence, as well as creating magic and miracles in all areas of your life, all by using a little bit of help from your angels and guides and the divine and loving conscious energy, or GPS system, of the magical universe that we are each and all a part of. So if you're ready to live your magic, yes, and if you're ready to be who you really are, then join me. I'm going to invite you for this hour to step into your power and awaken your true magic. This show is brought to you by the Psychic Talk Radio Network. That's the one and only radio network with spirit and Psychic You. So please do visit www.psychictalk.net to learn more about our past and upcoming radio shows, our wonderful hosts, as well as our online courses that we offer at Psychic You. And while you're there, you might want to check out my course, the Certified Angel Reiki Practitioner course, which is the only online course where you get certified both as a Usui Reiki Master and an Angel Reiki Master. This show is also brought to you by the Tarot School. So you want to go to tarotschool.com, and you'll find lots of really wonderful stuff on their website. And I want to let you know that they also offer Monday evenings on the Tarot Salon. Now, that's on Zoom, so you don't have to travel all the way to Queens, New York to go to one of their salons. So you want to go to tarotschool.com, and you want to register and sign up for their newsletter and hear all the stuff that they're doing. And one of the things that okay, so Magic Universe with Sharona is a live call-in radio show, and here we talk about such topics as angels, crystals, energy healing, tarot and oracle cards, and astrology, synchronicity, the law of attraction, but especially how to raise your energy so that you have good vibrations. And that is because you want to generate high vibrations, and you will attract into your life more love and magic. And Magic Universe is on the air live always on the second and fourth Sunday of each and every month. So you can listen to our show on the World Wide Web. And to do that, you just go to psychictalk.net. You can go /live too. And you can do that on your internet browser. And you can also listen on your telephone, too. And you do that simply by calling in to 714-816-4628. which reminds me to tell you that this is a live call-in radio show. So if you would like to call in for a free mini reading, an angel message, or maybe a little angel Reiki, or to talk to our special guest that we have today, what you want to do is when you call in, after you finish calling in, put in the number 1 on your radio, on your telephone keypad, and that will let us know that you want your call taken live on the air. And once again, that number is 714-816-4628, and that's to listen. So, and also we do have, during our live shows, you can go into our chat room. So on our page for psychictalk.net, if you go all the way down to the bottom, you'll see a place where you can go live into the chat. I do like to tell people that it works better on Chrome. If you're on Safari, you might want to switch over to going on to the Chrome, going in that way. Okay, so with that, it's time for us to start rocking and rolling. And I do have an extra special guest today for you listeners. Her name is Mary Brown. Now, Mary Brown is the host of There's a Rock for That. And that's another show that is live on this network on the first Saturday of the month at the same time as this show at 2 p.m. Eastern. And you have to go into the magic thing and figure out what time that is in the part of the country that you're in. And she's also the host of Tarot Today Radio with a co-host, Dan Dax Carlisle. Now, Mary is a producer for Psychic Talk Radio, and she has been a radio personality for several years. She was a Hollywood reporter and interviewer, and she's also the vice president for certification for the Tarot Guild, and she's a certified Reiki master teacher and a certified crystal healing practitioner. She's also an angelic healing practitioner, and she's all kinds of wonderful things. She's also a fairyologist, and she is a crystal Reiki master. And she is coming to you live. She's in Texas. Welcome, Mary Brown. Hello.
Hi. Hi, everybody. Hi, Sharona. Thanks for having me on today.
Thank you. Oh, my goodness. Everyone, I get so many people who they write into me or they call into me and they want to know about crystals. And I am so happy to have you on because, I mean, you know so much about crystals. So I am so happy to have you here today. Actually surrounded myself with some crystals.
Awesome. Hey, that's a great way to raise your vibration right there. It's great to have them
that's what they do
around us.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with any crystal because they have such high vibration. So this little show is all about love and magic. And before we start getting into crystals, I always lead off with my guests with a question: how do you bring love and magic into your life?
Oh, that is such a great question. Now, how do you bring love and how do I bring love and magic into my life? I kind of feel like it is really, what we used to say in Hollywood is you got to be in the room, right? So wherever you are, you've got to be in the room, in the moment, in the present, in the present. You have to be in the present to feel the presence of magic, to feel the presence of love. You've got to be there because really magic, love, it's everywhere. It's all around us. It permeates the air that we breathe. It is what this planet. It's the energy of the planet, and I think we get distracted. We get away from it. We let our mind wander. We get obsessed with things. We everything that takes us out of the room, out of the moment, out of the present. And when that happens, that's when we feel disconnected from love. That's when we feel disconnected from energy. So that's what I think it's really all about, is just, be there, be in the moment, be aware. That's really
beautiful,
I think, for me.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. Like, people. That's such an, when you think about it, it's so easy, but yet it's so hard today for people to stay in the present. We're constantly checking our devices or even we talk a lot about on this show about manifesting, and some people, they get so much into manifesting what they want in the future, they forget about that it might be happening in the present, and they can't really see that. They can't see that, it's kind of like baking a cake and it's in the oven cooking, but, unless you stay in the present, you don't realize that it is happening. And you could burn your cake or take it out too soon.
Well, exactly. That's the thing. We lose the connection to it. Like we don't hear the timer go off.
Exactly.
The next thing we know, we've got this little overcooked thing that was supposed to be this beautiful cake, that it was being the beautiful cake. And we were right there, and we were thinking about something else. We weren't there in the moment with it.
Yeah. So how do you stay in the moment? What are some of the tools that you use? And because it's not easy, so what are some of your suggestions for staying in the moment?
And look, I'm not going to say I'm an expert at it and I'm in the moment, 24/7, because it's not true. I'm just not, I'm like everybody else, I do get distracted and everything else. But, look, you and I both are Reiki practitioners, and I have to say that has been probably the number one most helpful tool to me, and not the whole thing. So everybody listening, if you aren't into Reiki, you're not a Reiki, person, that you can definitely, you don't have to know Reiki to do this. But when we learn Reiki, when we practice Reiki, there's the thing that we learn. And almost all Reiki, has a basis in Usui, okay? And so you have the 5 precepts, right? And what I have found is that I will go, look at the world we're in, the craziness and everything going on. It's really, you can get really wound up, right? And you can get really distracted, and you can be outside of the moment and everything. And so I'll find it, like if I go too long, not getting back to the present, I go straight to my Reiki precepts. And once I say them, and they are, these 5 things that we say, right, that they call them the precepts. It's, just for today, I will not worry. I will not anger. I give thanks for my many blessings. I will be honest in my work and my endeavors, and I will be kind to others. Everybody's got a different version. You make it your own, but that's, just the basic of it. And so when I do that, when I recite the precepts, and I do it 3 times because it's just my, it's a magical thing, right, to do it 3 times, like anything, right? I feel like I am bound to it. I feel like that is the vow for me. So any day where I'm saying the precepts, that's it. I can't get angry about anything, and I can't worry about anything. And I've got to be kind, and I've got to be authentic or honest all of those things. And so I think if you find, a way to have like either use the Reiki precepts, anybody can use the precepts, whether you're a Reiki person or not, or make your own sort of mantra or affirmation that it's really making a vow and saying like, no, today I'm not going to do that. Today I'm not going to worry, because we worry about the future, and sometimes we worry about the past too. And I'm not going to get angry, because when we get angry, we're so disconnected from the present. So if just those two things alone, it's like, and you hold yourself to them, that's the thing that's been like the most helpful tool for me.
Yeah. And I thought the fact that, I follow those Reiki principles too as a Reiki master also. But I just love the word. You just say, just for today. If you just break down and just say, just for today, it kind of starts anchoring you in the present. I mean, and you can go even further, just for this hour, for this moment. Yeah. And it makes it really crystal clear. So that's just such a powerful thing. And that's, I think the funny thing is we just get this moment. It's, we project ourselves back into the past, and that's gone, and we project ourselves forward into the future. But what we really only have is this moment in time, and to be thankful for it, and just kind of, look out of your vehicle, that's your body. We're all kind of like driving this vehicle of flesh around us, and look out and, just see the magic and the beauty that is all around us. And
yes,
you see a miracle.
Absolutely. You see the magic. It's it is kind of a thing. And I think when you have something happens, maybe you're listening to the news, or maybe the people in your life are arguing about something or whatever. Sometimes it's as simple as just like going in the kitchen, going in the bathroom, going outside, and doing a check-in with yourself, and say like, okay, but okay, I'm breathing. I feel fine. I feel okay. It's like you have to kind of step away from. I think it's really important to be in the moment. Sometimes you've got to step away from the energy in a situation, because I feel like I notice that happening so much with people, like on a daily basis. I hear it with my clients and stuff. It's like they're so like worked up, either by, things that are happening around them or what they're afraid is going to happen. And it's like, okay, but how about you right now, right this moment? How are you feeling? Where are you at? Are you okay? And they're like, yeah, I'm okay now. But then all this other stuff, I'm like, no, you're okay now. That's the important part.
Indeed. Yeah. Wow. That is something that we'll probably come back to again in the show. But I know I'm getting people like paging me. They say, "What about the crystals?" And so tell us what it is that you're a crystal Reiki master and you're a crystal expert. Tell us, for people who don't know what that is, what exactly is that?
Yeah, okay. So, crystal, crystal healing, crystal Reiki. Crystal, it's probably a lot of your listeners know what Reiki is. Crystal Reiki is approached in a lot of different ways, right? You can just really, be doing crystal Reiki by adding crystals to your Reiki practice. Sometimes, like from the very beginning, actually, when I was just studying like Usui Reiki, I was automatically using crystals because I couldn't help it, I'm like, but, if I put a crystal here, I had crystals, I was wearing crystals, I had crystals in my pocket, it was just sort of a natural thing. And so a few different ways that I do it, and really a lot of people approach it in different manners. Sometimes I will do a crystal layout on the person I'm giving Reiki to, right, if it's in person, and what that would be is like placing crystals on the various, like on the energy centers, on the chakra points on the body, right? And, you can do that intuitively. You can also, start with the basics of crystals that you associate with those particular chakras. And like I tell everybody, use the rainbow. And you want to start doing crystal healing, like just on yourself, look at the colors of the rainbow that are connected to the colors of the chakras, and you're going to find those colors in all kinds of crystals too. And intuitively get drawn to the crystals of those colors, and that's an easy way. You don't have to be an expert to start working with them. Crystal Reiki in particular, I do a lot of distance crystal Reiki, and I do that using crystal grids. So you're like, what's a crystal grid? Right? And that is when you take certain crystals, and with everything, we're always working with our intention. What is our intention when we are doing anything, right? When we want it to be effective. We want it to work. We maybe want to bring healing to certain areas of our life, even if it's not physical. It could be our career. It could be our love life. It could be just our home, our home life, our pets even. And so I will choose a layout, and that can be a layout as like a design, One of my favorites to work with is actually, I think people most are familiar with it as the Star of David. It's two, overlaid equilateral triangles, and they create a six-pointed star.
Yes.
And so, that's a very simple design to do with crystals. Because really, what do you need? You need, on the most basic level, you need 6 crystals, right, to create that six-pointed star. And that's a layout I use a lot. I also use the Flower of Life, which is much more complicated, but I think people have often probably seen the image. And the Seed of Life, there's, it really, like, whatever kind of, even a spiral symbol, what symbol that you want to work with that is in alignment with the intention that you want to achieve. So Star of David is really great because, that it's a protective symbol. It's such a spiritual symbol. And the crystals that you work with also have the added effect as well. So like a really simple one to do, like we're talking about, using crystals to raise your vibration, right? Well, there's a grid that I do for people that is arranging the crystals in the shape of the Star of David. I use a center crystal, a carnelian at the center. I used 6 citrine crystals to make the points of the 6-pointed star. And I use 6 smoky quartz at those where those lines would connect if you were drawing those 2 triangles. And, so that's, these are just like some ways to do it. Another way that I do crystal healing is using a crystal pendulum, and that is something I feel like anybody could do. If you're into working with pendulums, or you think you might be, and you can get a inexpensive crystal pendulum, you know, one that you like, learn how to use it, practice with it, you know, get used to its energy and how it communicates with you. There's a lot of you know, information on the internet of, you know, it's called dowsing, basically. But it's really simple. You just learn what your yes or no signals are, you know, for your pendulum to do dowsing. But I do body dowsing using a crystal pendulum that has always been something that I just love doing, because it's so I feel like it gets right to the heart of the matter. I feel like it gets right to the thing. And the thing that's interesting about this, right, and is that I have I have a whole collection of crystal pendulums, and there's one that in particular that I always use for healing, and it is actually a rose quartz Merkaba shape, you know. So this is like a star, you know, another symbol, you know, a star. You know, I don't want to get too, like, you know, why do I have to look all these things up, right? You know, and how I'm trying to describe this. But that particular pendulum that I think of as my healing pendulum, I will, you know, have a client lay on the table, and I will just, like, you know, slowly, you know, hold it over different parts of their body, you know, from a distance, like probably about, you know, 6 to 12 inches above their body. And the pendulum kind of does the work. You know, I'm channeling Reiki, you know, I'm just a conduit, you know. So I'm channeling, I make that connection with my Reiki guides and angels. I am channeling that beautiful Reiki energy through me, down my arm, through the pendulum, and letting it do its work. So how does it do its work? Well, it responds. It seems to respond to areas that are difficulty. So say you have an injury on your right knee, right? Chances are, you know, and I don't ask any questions. I'm like, don't tell me, you know, really, let me just see what comes up in this session, you know. Chances are that pendulum will start spinning on that problem area, you know. Wow. When I hold it above, like that person's knee, it'll start spinning, and sometimes it'll spin, and then it'll spin in the other direction, and it's almost like it's unwinding it, you know. So I don't know how, you know, what would be, you know, the real proper technical, you know, way to describe exactly what's taking place. I just know healing energy is working here. And whether that's spiritual or whether that's nature, you know, I don't know. I mean, I don't have the words for it, but I like the results of it, and my clients like the results of it too.
Yeah, well, I mean, you don't have to know how it works. You only have to know that it works. Kind of like, you know, here I am on a computer, and I don't know. I can use the computer and all the benefits, but you don't have to know everything. I mean, if someone said, well, can you make a computer or explain how the computer works? I go, no, it's magic.
It's magic.
But it works.
The button and yeah, exactly. That's like the perfect analogy, really. Yeah, it's like, you know, so, you know, the crystals are the tools in that way when I do crystal Reiki and crystal healing, but I also feel that anyone can use crystals for healing themselves. You know, I think that you can get as, you know, complicated as you want, And I do think, making grids and all of that, that's like more on the complicated end of working with crystals. But sometimes it's just as simple as like holding a crystal, and I think that, when we talk about this idea of raising our vibration, I think it's important that we check in with ourselves so we kind of know where our vibration is. Are we feeling low? How, where are we? And what is it? If we can kind of, check in with ourselves, do that kind of examination of like, am I feeling the way that I want to be feeling? And if not, why not? And what is it? And as much as we can pinpoint it, we can't always, really label it, exactly or define it. But that's going to help us a lot of times if we want to choose a particular stone that is particularly good at something, known for something. But in general, it doesn't even have to be that specific. It can be as specific as just picking a crystal that you're drawn to that makes you smile, that gives you that little lift in your spirit, and saying like, you know what, I'm going to hold on to this. I'm going to carry this around. I'm going to wear it. And jewelry. I mean, jewelry is probably like the easiest way, because not everybody has a rock shop or a metaphysical store, but the jewelry industry, they're everywhere, and they use all kinds of stones, and they don't have to be expensive. And I have like just, I was thinking about this other day. One of my very favorite rings to wear is this. It's an antique opal, this ring. And I just sometimes I'll wear it and I'll just sit there and I'll just look at it. And how opals have that sort of flash, underneath of different colors. Sometimes you see the reds, the greens, blues. And sometimes something as simple as like a stone that just fascinates you and catches your attention, and you just enjoy looking at it and studying it and glancing at it. And there's just something about it that just gives you that little lift, whether it's an opal or whether, it can be any kind of stone.
One of the things, I actually grabbed a pendulum and just realized, we were talking about staying in the moment. And working with the pendulum, and that's another great way of staying in the moment. We were saying, you want to be in the present. So just, keep the pendulum next to your desk and play with it, and it'll draw you back into the moment.
Absolutely. And because also working with a pendulum, is a great way to kind of to learn stillness, because you keep your body still, more still than you would, because you want the pendulum to move, not you moving it, right? And it makes you like kind of watch, and there's so many great fun things to do with the pendulum. Can you move it with your mind? Can you get to the point where you're holding a pendulum and you're just forming the question in your mind, and it's already starting to move and give you an answer? They're wonderful tools.
Now, I know that you said that you do them when you're in person with a client, but I know you do a lot of long distance work too. So is it possible to use do like a distance treatment with the pendulum? Do you do that? Maybe with a photograph or?
Yeah. Oh, what I got? You know what I got? It's actually. What I do is, sometimes with distance Reiki, what we, like you said, like a photograph or something, or stand-in, right? And like some people use a teddy bear, where the teddy bear is standing in for the client. The client is, across the globe, and the teddy bear that you have to represent the client is the one that you do the hand positions and the treatment on. And, yeah, you can do the pendulum as well. You can do the crystals as well. But I don't use a teddy bear. You know what I got when I first started, doing this? Because it's a great excuse to do it. I got a Raggedy Ann and a Raggedy Andy doll for men and women that I would be working on, and those I keep them in a special place with my other Reiki tools, and that's the only thing I use those dolls for. And so when I do distance, I will use my Raggedy Ann or my Raggedy Andy doll as a stand-in for the client. Now, the other thing is, so I'm doing that, and, you still make an appointment with the person, and, I ask them to, find a place, quiet place in their home where they won't be disturbed and they can just lay there and relax, and, they know when the treatment's happening. Sometimes I will be, on the phone with them if they want that while I'm doing the treatment on my end. And a lot of times, for distance crystal Reiki, it's grid work. So I will create a crystal grid with the intention, for what they want the treatment for. Because sometimes, it is specific. I had a friend that was going on a vacation. This is a great story, right? It was going on a vacation to the Middle East when, right? And people were kind of worried about, security, safety, that kind of stuff, because things were a little bit crazy at the time, where they were going. And they were wondering, can you do some sort of crystal Reiki session so that, I'll be protected on my vacation, And I was like, okay, yeah, I can do that. And I did a Star of David grid, and I used, different stones that I was thinking, what, that just came to me, use this, use carnelian, use red jasper, use tiger eye. Sometimes it's like that, where the stones come to you, right? And what I did was I put his name in his partner's name, because they were going on this vacation together, and I wrote them down and put that in the middle of the grid and had all this protective stones inside this big protective symbol around them. And I create the grid, at my home, obviously, because he's way in another country. And then what I like to do is I take a photograph of that grid. I left the grid up in my house during the duration of his vacation, okay? And because it was also a good friend that I was worried about too. I'm like, why are you going there now? You're freaking me out. But, so, and then what I did was I took a picture of it and I sent it to him. I'm like, look, keep that on your phone. Anytime that you feel like things are a little sketchy or a little weird or whatever, just pull that up and look at it, and know that you're protected. Know that there's all that great energy right there, that's going to make sure you have it. And, it was amazing, the feedback he gave me, because he's like, okay, nothing bad happened. We had a great vacation, but not only that, but everything happened right away. They got, on the flight, they got bumped up to first class. Right away they found a cab. Right away they had a great hotel. Right away, so it not only protected them, but somehow everything went, really well for them, better than, expected.
You got them into the zone or the flow, it seems like, which is kind of what, magic and all that's about, that, you don't struggle. I always tell people, once you start getting into this, whether it's with crystals or practicing meditation or all those things, it's like you get in the flow. And one of my favorite little poems, I guess it's a song, is the one about row your boat gently down the stream. And, that's kind of what it is. Life is a dream. And when you start particularly to stay in the moment and you start to work with your crystals and your meditation and your gratitude, basically the things that are part of the Reiki principles, you kind of get in a flow. Things aren't that difficult. And even if you're flowing down the stream and there's like a rock there, you kind of are able to kind of, flow around it with the water. And, it just makes life a more interesting place to be. So where can our listeners find you, Mary Brown? I know people are going to want to get in touch with you. So, do you have like an email? Where can they find you?
Well, probably the easiest way to find me is on our Psychic Talk site. If you go to psychictalk.net/Mary, and I've got a page there, and there's my email address. I've got tarot reading listed. My rates for that if they want a tarot reading. But really, just email me. My email is on there, and if they want a Reiki session, we'll figure it out. Just
awesome.
I check my email several times a week.
So, are you ready to take some calls? I see some people are all lined up, and they're like raising their hands and they're jumping up and down. So, let's take a call. And I see the caller that's been waiting the longest is at area code 269. Caller 269, what is your name and where are you calling from? Hi.
Hi, my name is Pam. I'm calling from Michigan.
Hey, Pam.
Hi, how are you ladies?
Doing? We're good.
Well,
we're having fun. Hope you're enjoying the show.
I am. I have just a general question if anything's coming up.
Okay. Well, without even grabbing my cards, I know that things are coming up, but you want to it's kind of like I always laugh. I say, well, if you're going to do a tarot card reading, it's kind of like a GPS, and it doesn't work too good unless you kind of put in where you want it to go. It kind of gives a little bit more information. Because I know things are coming up.
There's so many things going on, but I'm just in the middle of a lot of change that's, that's negative, but I'm finding the positive in it, and I think it's eventually going to be positive, but,
Okay.
It doesn't feel all that way right now.
So I'm shuffling. What are you getting, Mary?
It's funny. Like I grabbed, for whatever reason, I grabbed one of my crystal decks instead of my tarot deck. I've got all these. I've got my little setup here with all these different decks, and because it's a general reading, there's a deck I love to use that's really about affirmations. And these little affirmations really kind of tell us a couple of things. And the two things that come up here, one has to do with flexibility. Now, you're going through all these changes, right? And some of them feel not so wonderful, right? And so flexibility is going to be key. And, the affirmation that I got here with this wonderful stone called Brazilianite, is I am flexible and free to be me. So that's what I would say is make sure that in the midst of all of this, that you're the things that are changing and the way that they're changing, the changes that you're making, are ones that are self-affirming, life-affirming. This is, in alignment with where I want to be, with me being my authentic self, and that I'm not being pushed or pulled in directions that other people want me to go that doesn't really fit with me being free to be myself.
Okay.
And then the one other thing that I got, and I don't know how you connect to this at all, is Amber, and it's talking about your ancestors guiding and loving you and being open to receive their support and wisdom. And sometimes we have this weird, sometimes we don't feel all that connected to our ancestors, but, when we, examine it a little bit, we can find that support is there for us. We can find them within ourselves. So that's just the other thing I would mention. What are you getting, Sharona?
I'm also picking up on your maybe questioning some choices that you made, and you are, concerned if they were the right thing to do, but I think you need to give it a little bit more time. There's something that I feel that you right now you don't know whether to stay with it or wait for it. And I'm getting this whole thing about being patient. That there were choices, and it could be around an opportunity, or it could even be around a relationship. And I'm getting that whatever that is, that you really shouldn't doubt your choice, even though it seems to be taking longer than you expected. But remember when we were talking earlier about staying in the present? Things are happening, and if you just kind of step back from the forest, then you can see the trees. That that this thing that you want is really close. So I don't know if that's something that that is you're resonating with, but that's what I'm picking up too.
Well, it's pretty accurate. I mean, it's just there's a lot out of my control. That's the other thing, which of course I don't mind.
Well, yeah,
who does?
Well, just kind of as long as you stay positive on it, and it's almost like there's this weird trick that it sounds very, very how should you say, very woo-woo, but it works. Sometimes if the thing that you want in this moment, if you say you're thankful for it and kind of feel what it feels like if you have it, that's what's going to draw it to you. So there's things that you want, and you almost have to embrace saying thank you, and feeling like what it feels like to have it. Because if you focus on that you don't have it, the lack, sometimes the lack and not having it is what you pull in. So if there's something that you really want and an outcome that you want to bring about, you want to say thank you like you already have it. And, think of it that you planted a seed, and you planted the seed in the ground, and you don't want to go back and dig, like you say, I don't see the flowers. But you don't go back in there and keep digging it up. That it's coming. So I see things coming for you, and it's more than one thing. That's what I'm getting.
I like that analogy. That was really colorful.
Thank you. Well, thank you, Pam, for calling us.
Can I ask one more question about a tarot card? I can't find it on the internet. The meaning of the community card. It's a certain deck that it's from. Just find some general stuff.
And the card is called Community.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of The deck is
Yeah,
from.
I'm
And
not
it's
familiar with that one. What about Mary? Mary has more decks than I do. It sounds like it's something that's on a particular deck rather than the basic decks. Are you familiar with the community card?
I'll tell you, I know that there are they're not in a tarot deck, but there's an oracle deck. I think it's called the Energy Oracle deck.
Yes. Yes, that's it.
It has a community card. Is that it?
Yes, that's it. What's the difference between oracle and tarot? They're not the same thing?
I'm glad you asked. I love that question. Yeah. So, yeah, there is a difference. So, okay, in really short, so tarot, ideally, is a card deck of 78 different cards, and there's a certain structure to it. It's got the major arcana, it's got the minor arcana, there's court cards, there's a definite structure to it, there's traditional meanings for it, there's 3 different traditions of tarot decks. Oracle cards, on the other hand, are also cards that can be used for divination or meditation, if you like, or to raise your vibration, and they can be as many or as few cards as the deck creator wants them to be. So there's a big, wild, open, fun, beautiful world of both oracle cards and tarot cards. But sometimes people, they're not at a point in their life where they want to, really sit down and study the structure and the history and everything to do with tarot and learn the meanings of 78 cards. So they might buy like a 44-card oracle deck that has a message right on it, shuffle the cards and get their reading that way. They're wonderful to work with.
Do you ever use those in readings?
Always. I just did that for you, that Crystal Wisdom.
Okay.
Those crystal cards that I pulled, that's an oracle deck.
Okay. So are you familiar with the Energy Oracle cards?
Yes, I have the Energy Oracle cards.
Because I think that's what the community cards from there, I think.
Yes.
Looks like it.
Yeah, the community card is in that deck. And, also, that's something that, that card could be in other decks as well. I mean, there's a lot of them are, people just put different names on them. So, it may not be the only oracle deck that has a community card in it. But that particular, the Energy Oracle cards, and I'm trying to picture it in my head. I feel like there's people that are in that particular community card, and it does have to do with the idea of, being with others, finding your tribe, finding your like-minded people, and contributing and being a part of creating with others and having shared experiences, I believe. I don't have the deck handy. I'm just trying to channel what cards are in that deck, but that's the one that I'm like, yeah.
But if you had that as an outcome, that would be a positive outcome.
Yeah, okay, so, yes. Yes, if that's what you want, in a sense, because like if you got the community card and like say you have a solo project and you're really, for whatever reason, you're determined, I want to do this on my own, and you get the community card, you might think like, I'm going to need to work with others to do this, So that's the only way I could see it being like a negative, but even that's not a negative. To me that would be like, hey, you've got support.
Right.
Right. So,
yeah, that's what I know.
It's a great cause.
Yep. Okay. Well, thank you both. I really appreciate your time and wonderful reading.
And
awesome.
Thank you for becoming part of our community. You're in the right place. I mean, I'm getting the saying, you need to, like Mary was saying, you need to find your tribe and, find like-minded friends to hang around with. And I just want to add one other thing, too, that when you do get a tarot card like that, it doesn't necessarily say that the community is right there. It tells you the work you have to do. So it's telling you your work is to find that community,
Right.
And, it's like, I keep coming back to the GPS. You have to put the car in motion. You got to take it out of park. So a lot of times the reading will say, this is what you got to do. This is very close. Now go for it. You know what you have to do.
Okay.
I want to thank you for calling in.
Oh, well, thank
Love
you,
you.
Lady Tim. I appreciate your time and the reading that I got. It was wonderful. Thank you.
Oh, you're so welcome.
Take care. Have a good day.
Thank you. Okay. What we got to do? We got to do the Mary. We're having so much fun. We need to do the upcoming shows. I almost forgot.
Oh, right.
So let me run through that. So this is what we have that's going to be upcoming on the Psychic Talk Network Psychic Talk Radio Network. Tomorrow we have a show. It's the Wisdom of the Soul show with Janice Fuchs, and that's going to be on at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern. And then Friday, for those of you that love angels, I want everyone to know that at 5 p.m. Pacific and 8 p.m. Eastern, we have our wonderful program on. It's called Psychic Guidance Radio, and that's where we have Angel Channel and energy healer Catherine Hahn, and you can call in and she'll give you a message from the angels. She'll hook you up with who your guardian angel is and which archangels. And Mary, I see that you're going to be back not next Saturday, but in 13 days. And 13 is a magical number. You're going to be back on Saturday, August 7th on your own show. And it's going to be There's a Rock for that. And maybe you can just say a little something about that, because it says there's going to be a crystal guest to be advised. So do you know what crystal guest is going to be on? Or you're still waiting for one to answer back?
Well, I got my answer today, which is really strange, and but it's going to be a stone called Hanksite, like Hank, Hanksite. It's kind of a more rare stone, and I have a big piece of Hanksite. That in his name is Hank. And it's like I got kind of a shout out. I got a shout out from Hank this morning, and I was like, "Oh, I've never talked about you." So I know that much. I didn't even tell Dax yet. I think he's listening in the chat. He's like, "Oh, okay." Sharona finds out before I do, and I've got to put it on the page. But yeah, I'm going to be talking about Hanksite, and I'm not sure exactly what we're going to be talking about. I got to spend some time with Hank and find out.
Wow. That's a new one for me. Wow. So
I'm weird.
I'm certainly going to be tuning. Well, no. The thing that I think people don't realize that new crystals and stones are being discovered every few days anyway, because, they'll find, they say that, they find them in a mine or something like that, but I kind of think they're turning up, like they turn up and we find these stones at the moment that we need them. So,
absolutely.
I love the new ones, it's like they're going, hey, we can help you with this. It was, you didn't need it 20 years ago, but, I'm here now. I'm Hank.
Exactly. Good old Hank.
Good old Hank. What if he knows Bob?
Yeah, you might know Bob.
I think everyone knows Bob.
Absolutely.
And,
what about Bob?
Yeah. And I'm just going to let everyone know that I'll be back in 2 weeks. That'll be Sunday, August the 8th. And for those of you, we had Pam wanted to know more about tarot versus oracle cards. I'm going to be starting a series where I'm going to be talking about individual tarot cards. And I guess I could say my tarot card guest for that show is going to be the Wheel of Fortune. So I'll be in 2 weeks talking about that card. And yeah, I've been really getting into the cards because I've been creating my own deck. So that is forcing me to really get to know each card. So, when you start coloring them in. Yeah. And, of course, I'll be doing open lines and free tarot readings. So you want to mark that down, August the 8th. And just remember, I'm always on the second Sunday and the fourth Sunday of every month. So, Mary, let's see if we can fit in some more calls. Are you ready? You got your cards ready and your pendulum ready and your crystals ready?
I am so ready.
Okay, let's see. I have a caller 256. What is your name and where are you calling from?
My name
That's your area code. Hi, Kimberly. Is it Kimberly? Am I hearing you correctly? Kimberly?
Kimberly from Georgia. Yeah.
Georgia. Hey, Kimberly from Georgia. On my mind. And what can we do for you today?
I am calling in reference to a career. I have been focused on promotion in my career field, and I saw a job position opening at a school that I taught at 7 years ago, and I'm going tomorrow to see if I can speak with the principal, and I just wanted to know what you get from that.
Okay. So, Mary, what are you picking up on?
Well, let's take a look here. This time I'm going to use tarot cards to see what comes up here. This job, this promotion, I'll tell you what, I think it looks really good. For you, really be, look, the outcome card is the Ten of Cups. It's like you couldn't want anything better than a Ten of Cups. So I feel like go talk to them. There may actually be a couple different opportunities there that are available, and I think it's going to just go really well for you. This is a really good idea. And I get the Ace of Pentacles, the Ace of Cups. Aces to me often are, indicate like opportunities. But ending with the Ten of Cups, it's like, being like really happy with the outcome. I got a big yes on this idea of going there and meeting with them from my pendulum. So yeah, I'm just getting like really stellar energy on doing this. So what are you getting, Sharona?
I'm getting like a yes too. I'm seeing that in the past that Kimberly was really disappointed, but yet even though she was disappointed, perhaps that wasn't the job for her that she missed out on, that there was something better that was coming up down the road. And what I see with this one is this is something that would make her happier. And I think the whole key thing in her, when she goes in to talk to them, she has to almost like interview them where she's looking not just for a job, but for something that makes her happy. I mean, I'm getting all this stuff like I'm seeing hearts and stuff like that. I mean, sometimes, we want a job, but in hindsight, if we had gotten it, it wouldn't have made us happy. So when you go in there and they're showing you the different jobs, because I see there might be more than one thing that they're going to be talking about, focus on the one that will bring you joy. We sometimes put money first, but the most important thing is if we don't like it, it's not going to be worth it, so that it be something that brings you joy, and, just go in there with trust that if this is the perfect opportunity for you, the doors are just going to open. But very positive. I hope that helps.
Oh, tremendously.
Okie dokie.
It does. Thank you. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Thanks for calling. You too.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay. So let's see if we can fit in another 2 calls. How do you feel about that, Mary? You think you can do 2 more callers? I mean, we've got a lot of people waving their hand. And I am going to go, I'm doing it in the order because there's just people who have been waiting patiently in line. So I am going to go to area code 860. What is your name and where are you calling from? Hello?
Hi, this is Amla from Connecticut.
Emma?
Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
I am wonderful.
Good.
How you doing? I hope you're enjoying our show today.
I am. I'm learning a lot. Thank you.
Do you like crystals? Are you someone who?
Yes.
I don't know. I haven't met anyone who doesn't like crystals. So
yeah, I'm actually into. You guys were talking about jewelry. I'm not really interested. Like, it's interesting. I'm not really into jewelry, but I love rocks and gemstones.
Oh, exactly.
I like the natural. Yeah. Yeah. So
yeah.
Thank you for all the knowledge.
Do you have a piece of labradorite?
Oh, a what? I'm sorry.
Do you collect crystals, or do you have some? Do you have a piece of labradorite?
I just love collecting rocks, and it's whatever I see, when I go on my walks, and I just collect them that way. But it's all energy anyway. So
it is.
Yeah.
But there's just something about labradorite for you. I don't know why. It just
I don't even know how to spell
labradorite.
That.
Right. So it's like a Labrador retriever, like a doggy.
Yes.
So Labrador.
Okay. All right. I'll look it up. I'll definitely look it up.
Look it up.
Awesome. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
I am actually, it's interesting. I think it's when I'm in a transition mode. I definitely know it, and it's just kind of like you're in the storm, and you come out of the storm, like the peak of sun comes out, and then you're in the storm again. And that's what I feel like. That's a metaphorically speaking how I'm feeling with things going on. So I'm just wondering, I am a deep spiritual person. I'm just looking for my soul tribe people. Do you see that? Or what the cards say with things coming up in the next couple of months? Something like that.
Right. So like finding, your tribe, basically.
Yeah. I would love just a little bit of an expansion of it. It's just, I'm such a heart girl, and I think, when I come across people, it's just, I could feel and sense, it's more from their head space, and there's nothing wrong with that, but I want to connect with people from their heart space. And
do you think you're empathic?
Yes.
No.
Yes,
yeah.
I am.
That's part of what's going on.
Okay.
So it's going to be natural for you to feel that. Okay.
Yes.
So
yes.
So you've got to be able to like kind of say like, okay, yeah, that's that's the noise.
Yeah.
That's the noise I'm picking up, and that's not, but and so because you are sensitive, because you're you're empathic. I mean, I can feel that you're empathic, and so when you're picking up on that headspace of them and thinking like, man, where's the heart? Where's the people that have the heart that I do? They're not always going to have the heart that you do, but that doesn't mean that there can't be like, wonderful people to have in your life. You just have to try to ignore that noise. And I think that
I just want to say one thing. The other thing is with that, it just kind of popped in my head, is that I'm always the teacher in the relationship, friendship, whatever. And sometimes I want to learn. And that's the thing, too. It's in the heart, and I want to learn, too, from people. I think that's where it comes a little tricky. You know? Not that I'm not saying I know everything, of course not. But I love learning. I love it. I love it. And I want to learn from other people, too.
Yeah.
But,
take a class.
Oh, I've taken a lot of classes. I think I'm.
You know what I mean?
But I mean
it in the sense of like that metaphor, of take a class. So it's not like going and getting, a certification or, registering at a school or anything. But sometimes, when we are in that position of always being the teacher, and, some people it's not always a teacher. Some people it's always the healer. It's like I'm always healing other people. I'm always helping other people, but I want to be helped. I want to be healed. I hear that from people too. It's like sometimes we have a gig, in life. Now, you might call it a life purpose. We might get into all of that stuff, the big talk and everything. But sometimes it's like that's your gig. Your gig is to teach. And so, how do you learn from other people? Well, by taking a class on these other people, by studying them, by saying like, okay, I kind of, I'm meeting you and I'm hearing all of this and everything, but like, I'm not really studying that person. I'm not really tuning in and saying like, okay, I'm going to just pretend like you are my subject. Sometimes it helps to kind of do that, it that way. But I think being a teacher in your relationships and your friendships and everything, I kind of think maybe that's your gig, And I think you're absolutely right. You're right. It's not a bad gig to have. That's a wonderful gift to the rest of us.
I mean, I just kind of even like talking to you guys. It's just very rare that you could find people who actually walk their talk. There's so many healers out there, too. There's so many teachers that they just talk it, and they're not walking it, and I could feel it right away. And it's, again, it's just there's nothing wrong with being your authentic self. And if you're on a different wavelength, that's fine. But just be, and my whole motto is just be honest with yourself. And just say, hey, if you don't, one of my teachings is like, it's so simple. Like, you don't know the answer, you don't know the answer. It's okay.
It's totally okay to not know
everything.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, let's see what Sharona, what are you picking up on all this?
Thank you.
Okay. Well, I mean, you are, Emma, you're really protecting your heart. I see you that you're putting, you're putting up your guard. The card, if I was to describe the picture, it's someone who has their hands over their heart and are holding a sword in each hand. So they're, they're putting up this armor, this protection. But the thing with that, if you put it up too much, and they also have a blindfold on. So what I'm getting is you can still, and it's funny, it ends up with a card, which is like the card getting your wish, that you will be able to get what you want, but you have to kind of at least take the blindfold off and, look around. Don't bring, past experiences into the present moment. But it is important. It's funny, the card where you get your wish, it has a picture of someone, and they still have their hands that are that they're kind of crossed over their chest. So it's you're right to put up boundaries. You're right to protect yourself, but you do have. There's something that you're not looking at. There's a blindfold that if you take that off, then you're gonna see that it's not so empty out there. So I see more than one. More than one. I mean, in the cards it's depicted as being cups, but they represent, things that we want, things that we desire, particularly emotional, and there's opportunities out there. So definitely keep protecting your heart. Definitely keep putting up the boundaries because that's important to you, and don't change that. But take that blindfold off and be, like we were saying earlier, be in the moment. It's happening all around you, and just kind of that you can see it, and it'll happen.
Oh, thank you for that. That's
look
very
into
helpful.
labradorite. Really, see if you can get a piece of labradorite.
Yeah, that's a beautiful
I
stone.
will definitely look into that. Definitely. I'm going to look it up right after the show ends. Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a gorgeous stone. Yeah, and you can that's one of my favorite ones.
I will I'm going to get it right away then. Absolutely. Thank you for that. I appreciate both of you. It's a pleasure. The heart has lightened up even more, even the whatever amount of time we've been talking.
Yay!
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you for your
great weekend.
Thank you.
You have
a great energy. Okay,
Thank you.
Call back.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye. Thanks.
Bye. Bye. So, Mary, my goodness, we are running out of time. So, I don't think we're going to be able to take any more calls today, but I always tell people there's more shows coming up, and Mary's going to be back with her crystals and Hank. What was that, Hank? Mary and Hank will be back and talking about crystals. So, Emma, please call into that show, and that's going to be on Saturday. What was that? August the 7th. And then right after that, the next day on Sunday, I'll be back on, and I'll be talking about the Wheel of Fortune. So it'd be kind of like, how to not only read the cards, but how each little card, particularly the cards that are the major arcana cards, they're almost like a little lesson that's there for us that we can tune into. A little, you can think of that card as someone that you needed to meet along the way of life that can impart some kind of knowledge to you. So, gosh, we have had a lot of fun today, Mary. We definitely have.
Yeah. Oh, yes, this is great. This was so much fun and so many great callers, and I love talking to you, Sharona.
I love you too, Mary. Oh my goodness.
It's a love.
And I want to just thank you. I just want to thank you for being my guest. But most of all, I want to thank each and every one of you, my listeners out there, my friends. I mean, like we're talking about community. Please think of my show and Mary's show as being part of your community. And I know that Mary mentioned earlier how to get in touch with her. You can also get in touch with me the same way by going to psychictalk.net/Sharona. Just go into the website. You can leave me a message there. Oh, and we have something new. We have a little tip jar. So if you want to leave a tip, you can put something in the tip jar. But most of all, if there's something coming up, a crystal, a card, or something that you have a question, you can leave a question for me there, and I will go in there every couple days, and I'll have your email, and I can get back to you. So thank you for joining me today, and I always pick for each year, Mary, I pick a word, and the word that came up was speak, because you got to watch your words, because it's called spelling. So I just tell everyone that you need to say, I am strong, I am confident, I am enough, I am beautiful, I deserve the very best, I deserve love, because your thoughts and your words become things. So, it's all energy, and that's how the universe works with you. Your thoughts and your words become reality. And whatever you do,
Absolutely.
make sure you focus on what's positive in your life and give thanks for that, because, Mary, it puts out kind of a blueprint, I think, to the universe, whatever you call it, that it knows how to, he or she knows how to get back to you with what you want. There is definitely a magic there. And keep your vibrations high, and you can do that by holding your rocks and your crystals. And also, make sure to step into your power, because you are magic. You are magic in action. So, I guess until we meet again, which for me will be August 8th, and don't forget you can also meet up with Mary the day before. I'm going to wish everyone lots of countless blessings and high vibrations. Thank you, Mary, for joining me. I love you all. Love you, Mary.
Thank you. Love you, Sharona. Love you all, everybody.